So here's what we're going to do. I want you to, I've been talking all day. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a couple of seconds, and push it out through your mouth. Like that. Just give me a couple of those. One more. In through your nose, hold it for the count of 3 or 4, and exhale. When you do that, what happens is you are invoking what's called the relaxation response. When we get stressed, our muscles contract, our breathing is short, and oxygen only goes to the core of our body. That's a stress response. And we get stressed in these situations, and it doesn't go away. I mean, if there were a tiger at the door, we would either freeze, fight or flight or freeze. Right? And then when the tiger goes away, we eventually relax. But this is like a tiger that's not going away in our mind, and so we're always like uptight, and we can't relax, but we can take control of that. So if you learn nothing else, then what I'm going to talk about next is, for tonight, being able to relax when you want to. So I'd like you to take a nice deep breath in. Just like that. You do that a few times. You could do it before you have to have a conversation at work, at home, with a parent or a colleague or anybody, boss. What happens is, it's called the relaxation response. Dr. Herbert Benson at Harvard University founded this whole idea and wrote a book on it in 1965. And he's still at Harvard. You can actually Google the relaxation response. And at Mass General, he has a whole unit that does nothing but focus on stress reduction using breathing with this relaxation response. What happens, your brain goes, oh, she's trying to relax. Let me help out. And hormones get released into your bloodstream to help you relax. It's like a morphine effect. So you can induce that morphine shot just by breathing. You can take a nice deep breath, just a few times. There's actually something else called Qigong breathing, if you're familiar with Qigong, which is like a step up from Tai Chi. It's all part of the same family, but Qigong breathing is about inducing this response. Same idea. So Herbert Benson probably didn't invent it or discover it, but he certainly brought it to the Western world. Being able to control your physical state by your breathing, by your intention of wanting to relax. So now you have a tool. Anytime you want to relax, you can, and you should feel more relaxed than a couple of minutes ago. And if you continue to just breathe that way, you don't want to hyperventilate, but a few good breaths like that get you in a relaxed state. A little quick background story. In World War II, American pilots were shooting each other down in Europe because we had a shortage of pilots and too many missions, and they were tired. So the US Army came up with they did this study and found out that helping them sleep better until more pilots could arrive on the theater, they would focus on helping them sleep. And they used this technique that it's in that sleep document that I sent you, if you took a look at it. If any of you are struggling with sleeping, I'll cover that next just briefly, and you can share it with someone in your world as well. So,
Bob, sorry to interrupt, but some people have been saying they're trying to get in, but the meeting's locked.
The meeting's locked?
Yeah, like about 4 or 5 people.
Nothing has been locked. So
it was on that email chain that went out. So I don't know. I'm just letting you know that's what they're saying.
Okay, but it's set up for up to 100 people, so I don't know what the issue is.
Okay.
If you're getting emails from them, ask them to log out and try again. Make sure they have to use the password to get in.
They want to know if you will be recording tonight's class for them if they're not able to get in.
It's recording now. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay. So what was I talking about? Breathing, right?
Sleeping.
Sleeping. Thank you. Remember to breathe while you're sleeping.
The World War II pilots that needed to sleep.
So, sleeping. So it's so simple to fall asleep. And the whole idea, the magic is turning off the thoughts in your head. So imagine it's time for you to go to sleep tonight. Don't go to sleep now. Go tonight, you lay down, get comfortable. I'm shortcutting the other pre-sleep things that are in that checklist, but you're in bed, and before you get in bed, you've taken a few deep breaths, so you're already getting that morphine fix going. So you're relaxed when you get into bed. You're lying down, you take a few deep breaths, and you say those 4 magic words to yourself. I am sleeping now. I am sleeping now. You take a deep breath, and you can use your fingers on the sheet to just count. Hold on. To just count, and you won't get to 10. So you lay down, get perfectly still, play possum. You know, maybe you can relate to this. A little kid in a toy store aisle in a department store. It's time to leave. Johnny doesn't want to go. Mom or dad says, let's go. And the kid throws a tantrum. That doesn't work. So you go to grab the kid by the wrist, and the kid goes loose and limp. They just lay down like a possum. Well, no one taught that kid how to do that. We have that ability. So if you want to go loose and limp like that, you can, laying down in bed. So you get comfortable and just decide physically. So it's 2 steps. Physically, you're going to get still and comfortable. And then you're going to go, I am sleeping now. And your subconscious mind takes your words and thoughts literally. It doesn't interpret. So you're talking to yourself and you're saying, I am sleeping now. And before you get to 10, you're out. It takes practice. Try it for a few nights. Share that little document with anybody you want. So breathing, how to relax. First of all, deciding to relax. And I've been doing this for 13 years now. About 75% of the people I see are women because men don't get it. We're raised differently. We don't trust other men, or that we don't trust hypnosis. I was doing labyrinth walks at a friend's farm near here, and the men that were with their wives or significant others were resistant. They didn't want to go in the labyrinth because, who's watching, Is a friend going to come along and see them? But once they did it, they loved it. So they're just not as open initially. But the idea of learning how to relax, and I know women aren't as good at relaxing as men are. Men can relax through anything, most of us. And I don't know if that's an indictment or if that's good. But women seem to have more on their shoulders, and that's another indictment. But relaxing harder. So I had one woman, I said, okay, Martha, take a deep breath and relax and we'll get started. She looks at me, relaxation or relaxing is such a waste of time. And I said, well, what if it was a strategy to help you get from where we are to where you need to go? And then she was 75. She said, Bob, I wished I learned how to relax 30 or 40 years ago. And my own mother was the same way. I had to teach her how to relax. You're wanting me to keep it under an hour, so I was going to take you through a relaxation exercise. I'll let you guys tell me if that's what you want after I cover some more bullets. Lowering your anxiety. Sometimes we get anxious and we don't even know why. We have things in the background, or something happened a long time ago that you're worried is going to happen again. or you're just anticipating. How many are warriors? Right? Warriors are living in the future, concerned about something that's not going to happen in all likelihood. So for warriors, I try to get them to focus on living in the present. And people who are living in fear are living in the past. They're expecting something that happened before is going to happen again. So my challenge there is to get them to live in the present moment. And sometimes that's hard to do. It's obviously easy to talk about. But for anxiety, I'm going to build on this. So you take a deep breath, do a little bit of that, right? I'm going to have you close your eyes for just a minute if you're comfortable. You don't have to close them if you don't want to. But imagine just counting from 5 down to 1. 5, 4, relaxing a little bit. 3, letting all stress and tension float away. Maybe you can imagine a rowboat tied to a dock on a river, and you're just going to gather up your stress and tension and anxiety, put it in that rowboat, untie it, and push it out into the stream, and let the current take it away. Or maybe you want to look at a hot air balloon, perhaps, that's on the field beside you, and you're going to gather up all your stress and tension and put it in the basket of the hot air balloon and let it float away. And I'm just covering some of the concepts here, but these are 2 tools you can use. So you breathe, you count down a little bit, you take your stress and anxiety, let it float away. And then you say to yourself these 3 magic words: I am okay. I am okay. No matter the circumstance. In that present moment, you are okay because you're breathing. I am okay. And your subconscious goes, yeah, we are okay. I got this. We can relax a little bit and de-stress. And if you have some specific anxiety, you can give it a name. In therapy, that's one of the things they talk about, is naming that thing, if you will. So you could call it Fred or Betty or Joe or Bill or whatever, and just say, hey, you know what? Put your arms out and say, put your arms out at arm's length and just say, I don't have time for you right now. And put your hands out like this and just go, I don't have time for you right now. And you take a deep breath. And you go about your business, and if that anxiety starts to come up, you take a deep breath. And I'm not trying to oversimplify medical conditions and other things, mental health issues, but most generalized anxiety, we can do some surface work with and just go, I don't have time for you right now, Fred. Go away. And you start to take back more control, more emotional control. And that's what this is about. So I want you to take a nice deep breath. Press your index fingers and thumb together like I'm doing. Can you see that? Making a circle. We're going to create a positive anchor. Nice deep breath in. Touch your index finger and thumb. And maybe you want to think about, if you like to go to the beach, a grain of sand. I had a person in here yesterday, she has a jam and jelly business. I said, I want you to think about a seed from a raspberry in your finger, thumb. So whatever it is, but just focus on the touching of your finger and your thumb. And say this: I'm calm, I'm relaxed, I'm in control. I'm calm, I'm relaxed, I'm in control. And this is written down on one of the handouts that I emailed this morning, that relaxation exercise. So you can undo your hands there. They're not stuck. I could tell you they are, and they would be. Imagine super glue between those, and you cannot. I won't do that. In session 4, I'll give you some tips for hypnotizing other people in the house, okay? I hypnotized a 16-year-old girl to get her father to do anything she wanted. Within, but it was fun, lighthearted. So change is about wanting the change, whatever it is that intrigues you about being here, whatever needs to change. I don't know what, if anything, but here are some concepts that are important. And here's an exercise I give everybody that I work with. And not everyone can do the exercise. So when we're done with this, try it on size at home. Look into the mirror, look right into your eyes, and just say, I love you. Not everybody can do that. But when you can say it, and the reason you do it is when you have the intention that drives the words that come out, goes in your ear, gets processed, and ends up here. Because that's the first step in self-care. It's the first step in change. Someone earlier chatted they want to stop smoking. Well, that's part of a self-love act, if you will. It's something you're doing to heal your body using the power of your mind. And there's more to it than that, of course. But wanting the change more than you want to continue living without the change is very important. Whatever that change is. And then you have to be willing to take some small steps. And they don't have to be big steps. I had a woman in here this afternoon. I trained her to become a hypnotist a year and a half ago, and she still hasn't started her business. So I hypnotized her to take some small steps to start the process of opening her practice. And I hypnotized her to find an office before she lets her head hit the pillow tonight. And because she wants that, I'm sure that she will do it. And it's an example of just deciding you're going to take action. Another key step is this idea of visualization. We've heard the phrase, I'll believe it when I see it. Let's turn that around. I'll see it when I believe it. I used that with her in her practice. I said, you're not going to open, you're not going to take steps until you can see yourself working with a client and having them walk out the door better than they came in. So this idea of visualizing. I first learned about visualization in sports, playing tennis in 1983. Vic Braden came out with a book, Tennis for the Future. The whole first chapter is about picturing and mental imagery. Athletes of all kinds, in this whole COVID thing, these athletes are doing a lot of mental imaging and mental rehearsal. I work with golfers to play better. And I don't golf. I stopped golfing 20 years ago. But they can visualize themselves putting the ball where they picture it. They can mentally rehearse, sitting on their own couch, putting the ball in the cup from 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, and just practicing in their mind. It's called muscle memory. And connecting with the feeling from a previous good experience. So if I'm working with a public speaker, for example, I'll get them to connect with the last time they felt they really nailed it, even if they were just talking one-on-one with someone, but it went well. And bringing those feelings to today and applying them, projecting them into the future. That's called future pacing. Being able to take what you want as if it's already been accomplished. Then you just think, act, and be that person that you want to be. With weight loss, that's what we do. Go out into the future and talk to that future you. How did you do it? What worked? How did we get there? How do you feel? And that's incredibly powerful, this idea of future pacing. I'll do that with smokers. If you're the smoker in the room that asked, you don't have to identify yourself, but I wonder if you'll decide today, tomorrow, or a week from now that you're all done with this. And when you can picture yourself being free and breathing better for all the right reasons for you, and in a future session, we're going to do this thing called a clearance protocol that you can use for anything to help you go on this little journey to drop things and let go of them and to pick up new things that you should be picking up and making changes. So we'll talk about that. How's this sound so far? Good concepts? We talked about anchoring. The power of I am. I said earlier, I am sleeping. I am okay. I am Bob. I am me. This power of I am comes from God, actually, but this idea of in the law of attraction, and I don't get too woo-woo with hypnosis, pretty straightforward stuff, but the law of attraction and the power of I am, these affirmations, are tools to help you program yourself. For example, with weight loss, I'll say, because how we talk to ourselves means everything. I am on a weight loss journey and I'm having fun. Now, you might not feel like that's true in the beginning, but you start to make a shift. Right? Or I'm on a weight loss journey and I'm amazed at the changes I've made. Or every day in every way, I am better and better. That phrase comes from Emile Coué, a 19th century psychologist from France who came up with this concept of autosuggestion and us feeding our own minds good, positive, healthy, present moment suggestions. And when we believe what we're walking towards in our mind, the affirmations support us and become true. Any questions, comments? I've been yakking for a little over a half hour. Can I go over what weight loss strategy might look like? Doesn't matter if you want to lose 1 pound or 2. Because if you can learn to lose 1 pound at a time, you can practice it every week if you want. So I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be. When I do weight loss programs with people, I don't tell them what to eat because we know this is not about dieting. It's about a shift in your relationship with food and drink. It's not just about counting calories, and most people have tried their whole lives to lose weight, and sometimes there's some deep emotional stuff that causes them to gain weight. I worked with one person. She was a Navy brat. Her father was stationed in an island in the Pacific. There weren't any other kids to play with, so her mother would give her a candy bar every morning and say, go play on the dock, you know? And so this woman in her adulthood was associating candy bars with soothing herself, her emotions. And I have a checklist about emotional eating that I'll share with everybody when I find it. And I don't need to see it, but you can go through it and see it. Oh yeah, that number 13 applies to me, or because we all have things sometimes that cause us to go off our program or our stated goal. So here's what it is. This is easy too. You don't have to write it down, but you can. When you're hungry, you eat. There's a lot behind that statement, though. You enjoy every bite of what you're eating. So when it stops tasting good, you stop eating it. So you're not mindlessly doing this. You slow down. Even if you have to put your fork down, become the slowest eater at the table. Even Weight Watchers has a whole pamphlet on mindful eating that one of my clients brought in. So Weight Watchers is teaching mindfulness. The idea that you're going to enjoy every bite and you're going to eat slowly. Harvard University did this famous thing called the raisin test. And it's not really a test, but they use a raisin as a mindfulness example, where you take a raisin out and you look at it and you appreciate it before you eat it. We don't have time to go through the whole thing right now, but I'll send you the handout. You can have fun with it. The idea that you can eat more mindfully and more slowly and more deliberately, and you're eating to give your body fuel and nutrition rather than to soothe a habit or an emotion. You make better choices. And the thing I would say, if weight loss is on your list between now and our next session, real simple homework assignment. Eat more nutrient-dense food. So it's a process of shifting in some new habits, and then over time replacing them and shifting out. So if you can add more nutrient-dense foods, and you can Google nutrient-dense foods. I don't do research for people because everyone's unique, but you can research superfoods and those kinds of things, and maybe be adventurous and try something new. But the idea of when you're hungry, you eat, you enjoy every bite, you eat so slowly that you're giving your stomach time to tell your brain, close the pie hole. Your portions are normal. We don't need to eat restaurant portions of pasta or anything else. We don't need to eat a hamburger that's 18 inches tall. The idea for some of intermittent fasting, you can look into it, but the idea that, hey, I don't eat 2 hours before bedtime. Nothing goes in my mouth except maybe water. So you go to bed. So let's say you go to bed at 10. That means you haven't had anything from 8 o'clock. You wake up at noon, right? Everyone's up at noon. That's a joke, Sarah. You can laugh. But you have this window where your body's not eating anything. So intermittent fasting is for some people. You can check it out. But drinking more water than we normally drink. Get up in the morning and have a 16-ounce glass of water, and some people put lemon in it. That works for them. And that is like the overview of what I help people change in hypnosis. Now, the details are different for everybody for weight loss. I had one person lose all the weight she needed by making one change. She was eating a jar of peanut butter every other day. She just couldn't stop eating peanut butter. I had another person, he couldn't stop eating ice cream. Big, huge bowl of ice cream every night, and sometimes more. I got him to start having a smaller bowl, eating it earlier, and having frozen yogurt instead or something. And eventually, he shifted away from it. The idea is a pound a week. If you can lose a pound a week when you want to, you can lose it the second week, the third week, the fourth week, on and on, without serious effort. So you add a little walking to that, and you eliminate certain foods. You get rid of the bad fats, and you limit the carbs, and you get rid of sugar. I'm writing a book called The Magic of Aesop, about Aesop's fables. But it's for hypnotists to use in the office to help people, taking the fable and connecting it to their goal, their issue. This one person came in, she was a marketing executive. Nothing was working. I couldn't get through to her. So after 3 sessions, I handed her a book. It was a children's book called Aesop's Fables. I have it back there somewhere, but I gave her the copy. And I said, I want you to read this. Your mind will resonate at some level here. And let's see if this doesn't go away. She called me back. She goes, I don't need to come in for my 4th session. I said, good, keep the book. And she stopped drinking. She was drinking 12 cans of Coca-Cola every day. She just one after the other all day long at work. And she stopped. So it's magical sometimes the way the mind will respond to a message. And it might be a message that happens in a session here, or you hear on TV, or someone says, your mind is just open to change, or something best, it's something you say to yourself. In this, you start to see how this all comes together. Because you love yourself and you want what you want for all the right reasons, you start making better choices. And if you can do that in one aspect of your life, you can do it in others. Any questions? Comments? Thumbs up, thumbs down? You enjoying what we're talking about? Let's see. We've been at it for 45 minutes. You want to learn any other little techniques while we're on the thing, or you want to go for tonight? Anybody? You can. I don't know how to. Okay, I can mute all.
I'd like to learn another relaxation technique.
Another relaxation technique. Oh, I know what we have to do. I'm glad you mentioned that. So this is good, and I want you to just have an open mind about what we're going to do next, and I want you to teach it to someone by this time tomorrow, okay? It's easy. I do this when I go speak at senior centers before this COVID stuff. I've helped kids do it. I've helped grown men do it. It's real easy. I want you to take a nice deep breath. Keep your eyes open, and I want you to give yourself a hug. Cross your arms and put your hands on your shoulders, and just kind of feel with your hands, so your shoulders know your hands are being there and kind of grabbing, and just put your head, your chin, and your arms there. Drop down a little bit. You can allow your eyes to close now, but I want you to just kind of massage your shoulders lightly, so that you can feel the touch. And slowly begin, I'm going to say 3, 2, and 1. Slowly begin to slide your hands down to your elbows. Nice, deep, relaxing breath. Say, I'm okay. Keep sliding down to your wrists. And put your hands by your side and take a nice, deep breath. If you did that, that's what we call the anti-anxiety hug. Babies, as humans, we like to be hugged, right? And not all babies get hugs. And not a lot of adults get hugs anymore either. I had an Irish mother that didn't believe in it. But you can give yourself hugs. If no one else will, do it yourself. Just kind of do it slower than that. And you'd be amazed how it makes you feel. It's a great example of your mind and body working together. Again, driven by your intentions. And then one more real quick one. This is easy. If you're ever not feeling, too great, woe is me, the world's going to end, there's an asteroid coming or whatever, you give yourself that hug. And then just smile. So I want you to smile at someone tomorrow too, or today, because you could make a difference in their life. I mean, a huge difference. Because no one smiled at them in a long time. But when you smile, here's what happens. Your facial muscles go into that smile position, and your brain knows that. We have over 3,000 facial positions of our muscles. And when you smile, your brain thinks you're happy, whether you're happy or not. I helped the UPS distribution center general manager do this, and all of his employees thought he was great afterwards. Because he was smiling at everybody. But and it took him a while, because he just wasn't happy on the inside. But what happens when you smile, your brain releases endorphins, and they're measurable in your saliva about 3 minutes later. So smile for a couple minutes, and this is a great example of the mind following the body. So when you're happy, the body will follow the mind and smile and release endorphins. When you're not feeling so happy and you smile, the body will follow the mind, right? No, the other way around. The mind will follow the body. But it's like a chemistry experiment. You're getting your brain to do what you want it to do. You're taking back control. So taught you a few examples for relaxation, some concepts for just taking back control, anchoring yourself. I'm calm, relaxed, and in control. How to fall asleep and get a good night's sleep. Even if you have to get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, on the way to the bathroom and back, you say, I'm sleeping now. And you don't let your mind start to wander. You just don't do it. And you get back in bed and fall asleep. So I'm going to have you unmute yourselves, if you would, please. And just tell me what you think about what we just did this past 45 minutes. Anybody?
You want me to say something, Bob? Mass General, the Benson Henry Institute, I was sent there for a pretty serious back issue. I fractured my 3 vertebrae in my spine. I was having major issues. So I'm hoping that everyone really will stick with this, because sometimes the first session is a lot of information, but this mindfulness thing can really change your life. It got me away from that back pain without any medications. I don't do it enough, so now I'm back taking this with all of you to get myself back into the focus on mindfulness. And I hope that we do more. I think people are probably looking for more relaxation techniques from you each night, in a way to bring them down and calm them. I know I am, and I feel that's a lot of people, and anyone else can speak up if they feel differently, but I think really specific relaxation techniques would be really helpful for everybody.
Okay. As far as being locked out, I'll have to investigate that, because I didn't do anything, and maybe the system just won't let you in after the meeting starts. I don't.
Do you have a waiting room, Bob?
I do, but actually, I didn't enable that. There's nobody in the waiting room. So I'll have to check my settings, and I apologize to those people, but it is recorded.
Okay.
That's too bad, but I'll look into that from this end so it doesn't happen again. Anybody else have any? Anna, did you have your hand up?
Well, I was just thinking that there's no magic, quick answers to this stuff. I think it's just the concept of trying to learn to slow your mind and relax. And I think your different exercises, if we try to use them, could be helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
True, there is no magic wand to wave. It seems magical when I'm working with people, but the miracles are happening on the other chair when I'm working with someone. It's about what you do with your mind and learning how to program your mind, how to get past that critical faculty that doesn't want to allow new ideas in. And we use all kinds of metaphors and stories so that over time you can make it seem magical by relaxing that fast. The idea of the anchor, being able to press your index finger and thumb together, you can relax instantly in a very stressful moment, if you will. First responders learn how to do that. My son's a SWAT team member, and they do this. And they pull the trigger at the machine. But everybody can learn how to relax better. And essence of going to work, who's shuffling papers?
Oh, that's me.
Oh, you're in trouble.
Well, Well, I was panicking because I think I forgot all the anchoring and how I was trying to take notes and listen and do it, and now I'm worried that I'm not going to remember how to do the anchoring and what the steps were.
Post the recording in a day or two. But real quickly, you do this. I'm calm. I'm relaxed. I'm in control.
Okay, I'm coming.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You
You
would.
don't want to get stressed out about trying to get.
That's true.
I even had the nerve to give that suggestion to a woman that was having a baby a couple days later. She didn't get any delivery advice from me.
No.
She did say, hey, if all else fails. She got back to me. It didn't help.
Yeah.
But the breathing did, okay? Because the breathing generates that morphine. All right, watch for an email, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.